Weapon upgrades, armor crafting, and vendor purchases have now been revealed in Ghost of Tsushima. And this is the first time we're getting to take a first look at how the vendor would look like inside the game. And I'll also be sharing some of the brand new, never before seen gameplay footage of Ghost of Tsushima in this video as we go through all of the brand new details in the game. Now let's start off with this brand new gameplay footage where you can see Jin entering one of the ancient temples, which is known to be one of the social spaces, or also known as the iconic locations. So when you visit landmarks like these in the map, you will basically come across multiple street shops, vendors, and also different types of merchants in these locations. And as a player, you will also have a lot of interactive things which you can do. And one of the vendors in this game is called as the Bowyer. And as you guys can see, this location is called the Golden Temple, where you can see Jin approaching one of the Bowyers, which is the name of one of the vendor variant. And these Bowyers are different from the normal store owners, where you will not be able to purchase any new items or new weapons or whatever gears, but they're more like a craftsman who will be upgrading and enhancing Jin's weapons and gears and all that kind of stuff. And these guys actually charge you collectible resources rather than the in-game currencies. Now I believe you guys already know this, the game will have different types of collectible resources which will be available in the open world, and most of them are basically natural resources like the bamboos, flowers, rare stones, threads, and much more. And you can basically collect all of these items by exploring the open world of the Tsushima island. Now of course there are different types of vendors in the game, and you will have different currency types in the game, and each vendors will be charging you different currencies. As we have already seen, the Bowyers will actually charge you resources, the collectible resources which you get from the nature in order to craft and upgrade your weapons and gears. And there are also other merchants and vendors where you will be able to purchase items, and the currency which they will be charging is called the Mons. And you can basically earn the Mons by completing missions, side quests, and also helping other people in the open world, or you can even scavenge abandoned landmarks where you might end up finding treasures and different lootable items. And there are multiple vendors in this game, each with their own specialities. Now with the Bowyers, you can actually see Jin upgrading his bow, and this particular bow has 5 levels of upgrades, and each level will increase the stats of the weapons, as well as the bow can also be visually customized. Now the Golden Temple shown in this clip is one of the many different iconic locations in the game where players will be able to explore the true beauty of ancient Japan and the Tsushima island. And there are different kingdoms which rule particular locations, and Jin is known to be the young lord in this particular kingdom, where you will see people recognizing him and respecting him, where we as a player walk past all of these NPCs in that particular region. Now we also have another gameplay clip here which was being played on the PS4 Pro, and as you guys can see, the volumetric lights and the fog in the environment makes the game look extremely beautiful. And here you can take a look at the new combat system implemented in Ghost of Tsushima. Now the game is of course not as easy as it looks. The enemies in this game are going to be extremely challenging, so entering combat with multiple enemies at once is always going to push Jin's limits. And the enemies in the game are going to be producing the same amount of damage as Jin does to these enemies. So this game is going to be extremely balanced in terms of combat, and it actually makes the fight much more intense and longer than any of the other open world games we have seen before. Now let's say Jin attacks one of the soldiers who is one of the enemies, and the other enemy will not just stand by and watch you kill their friends. Whereas multiple enemies will start striking you all at the same time, and you will have to dodge their attacks and parry them in the right time, or you will be struck down within 2 to 3 hits from these enemies. Now as you guys can see in this clip, the bottom left shows the health meter of Jin, and you can see the amount of health he lost with just one strike from one of these enemies, and with the second strike, Jin's health almost decreased to 90%. So 3 consecutive strikes from these enemies will instantly get you killed. So stealth is always going to be the best option to attack your enemies, and the game doesn't really make you feel overpowered at any sorts of times. So the game is going to be pretty much well balanced all the time from the start of the game till the end of the game. Now let's say if the combat is starting to get a bit harder, and if you're in a disadvantaged number of enemies, then you can always choose the ghost way of combat style, where Jin will be basically using all of the dirty tricks up his sleeves and uses all kinds of weapons and smoke bombs in order to trick the enemies into falling for the bait. Now choosing to play as the ghost will make the enemies get scared of you, and some of the enemies might even drop the weapons and surrender during the mid-combat situations, which actually looks very satisfying, and you can basically feel the tension and fear in that scenario, which kind of gives you this urge of extreme satisfaction. So you will now have 3 different skills in the game, and you will be able to unlock and select 3 skills at a time, which you can appoint in your skill wheel. And one of that skill is the self-healing, which you can see Jin using in this gameplay clip here. And there are plenty of different skills available in the game as well, which you can of course pick through the skill trees. Now in another gameplay clip here, you can actually see Jin using the stance combat system. Now the first few seconds in this clip, you can actually see Jin was fighting using the stone stance technique, which is a honorable samurai fighting style which we have already seen in Ghost of Tsushima trailers. And when the situation gets heated up and when you feel like you cannot really handle the pressure of being honorable, then you can now switch to the water stance technique, which is more of a ghost style of fighting, I would say, where Jin now slices in the katana like a sword in the most fastest and in the most unexpected ways to bring down the enemies. And the water stance is against the samurai's culture of fighting. And changing up multiple stances will basically confuse the enemies on which stance you're picking or what kind of combat style you're using, and this will give you a new opening to strike on which they might have never expected. So the combat system in this game is truly unique in all sorts of ways, and so is the entire game and the environment itself. Now Ghost of Tsushima is going to be the most unique open world games that you have ever played, and this game is surely going to be setting a huge trend for all the upcoming open world genres. Now if you guys did enjoy this video, then please make sure to leave a like. Let's see if we can actually get 200 likes, so your support would be absolutely appreciated. And if you guys are looking for a YouTube channel that is completely dedicated to Ghost of Tsushima content, from tidbits to gameplays to all the tips and tricks and all the in-game guides in Ghost of Tsushima, then you should totally subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so that you guys don't miss out on my daily Ghost videos. And I'm also doing a giveaway of Ghost of Tsushima Standard Edition, and you can win a copy by simply staying active on the channel as well as on my Twitter page, like being more interactive in the comments and tweets and stuff like that. And I will pick the winners one day before the release date so that you guys can get a pre-order version of the game. With that being said, I hope you guys have a blast of a day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Till then, take care fams, and goodbye.